Assalamu alaikum students. This lecture is in continuation to the acid base disorder, as we have discussed about the compensations of different acid base disturbances, that is metabolic acidosis, metabolic alkalosis, respiratory acidosis, as well as respiratory alkalosis. Now there are three key points to diagnose any type of given disorder, that is uncompensated, fully compensated, and partially compensated. I want to give you certain information that if you are solving a scenario, clinical case, clinical study that is about any type of acid base disorder, you will focus at 3 points. Please make it sure that you will focus 3 points: pH, if it is increased or decreased than normal value. You know the normal value is 7.35 to 7.45. Similarly, level of bicarbonate, either it is going to be decreased or increased, and PCO2, partial pressure of carbon dioxide. So your key points that will trigger particular sort type of acid base disorders are pH, bicarbonate ion variation, and partial pressure of carbon dioxide. Along with these three parameters, you will see the clinical cause that is given. By relating these parameters, you will diagnose the true diagnosis. In case of uncompensated case, in easy language, you can say the problem is not being solved right now. There are two things: bicarbonate level and PCO2. Bicarbonate variation is going to create metabolic disorders. Carbonic acid and PCO2 are one and the same thing. PCO2 is partial pressure of carbon dioxide, and level of PCO2 is going to be creating the carbonic acid amount. So if PCO2 will be high, obviously H2CO3 will be high. If PCO2 is low, H2CO3 is low. So either PCO2 is given or level of carbonic acid is given. These are one and the same thing. So I want to tell you, if you are having a problem, if the patient is suffering from a problem in which bicarbonate is decreased, it will be metabolic acidosis, and you will relate the clinical cause as well. If the clinical cause is lactic acidosis, diarrhea, diabetes, so it will be short that it is metabolic acidosis. If the case is metabolic acidosis, it should be compensated by lungs primarily. Lungs should hyperventilate and acid should decrease. I told you before that if bicarbonate is decreased, acid should also decrease. If bicarbonate is increased, acid should increase. In metabolic acidosis, bicarbonate is decreased, so acid should decrease. If the acid or PCO2 value is normal, it will be uncompensated case. इसका मतलब है कि दूसरे मैकेनिज़्म ने प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने की कोशिश ही नहीं की. अगर प्रॉब्लम बाइकार्बोनेट क्रिएट कर रहा है तो कार्बोनिक एसिड की अमाउंट को कम होना चाहिए. अगर वो कम हो रहा है तो वो पार्शियल कॉम्पनसेशन है, अगर नॉर्मल है तो वो अनकॉम्पनसेटेड केस होगा. सेकेंड कैटेगरी इज़ पार्शियल कॉम्पनसेशन, in which pH will be abnormal. Abnormal mean it is deviated, it is decreased. If it is acidosis, pH is decreased. If it is alkalosis, pH is increased. This is abnormal pH. But the compensating entity is trying to be increase or decrease. पार्शियल कॉम्पनसेशन का मतलब है कि आधा काम हो गया है और आधा काम अभी बाकी है. अनकॉम्पनसेटेड का मतलब है कि अभी कुछ भी शुरू नहीं हुआ, कोई भी प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने के लिए नहीं आया. अगर प्रॉब्लम बाइकार्बोनेट का है तो कार्बोनिक एसिड को चेंज होना चाहिए. अगर वो चेंज नहीं हो रहा तो इसका मतलब है वो अनकॉम्पनसेटेड है. इन केस के इट इज़ बीइंग चेंज्ड, इन केस बाइकार्बोनेट इज़ चेंज्ड and carbonic acid is also changing either by increasing or decreasing. To solve the problem, it is partial compensation, but still pH is abnormal. Fully compensation, fully compensated case is linked with normal pH and changing value, and the ratio is adjusted. Ratio of bicarbonate and carbonic acid 20:1 is maintained and pH gets normal. It is full compensated. So I want to give an example. Suppose there is a case of diarrhea that is suffering from diarrhea since 4 days, The clinical cause is diarrhea. pH of blood, that is measured by arterial blood gases investigation. pH of blood is 7.29. Bicarbonate level is 20 millimoles per liter. The normal value is 22 millimoles per liter to 30 millimoles per liter. So bicarbonate is decreased. Clinical causes relating to metabolic acidosis, but the value of PCO2 normal value is 35 to 45 millimeter of mercury. If this value is 37 millimeter of mercury, it is normal. Now bicarbonate is decreased, but carbonic acid PCO2 value is normal. This case is uncompensated. Now we will convert it in partially compensated. Now you can change PCO2 less than 35, because normal value is 35 to 45 millimeter of mercury. If the value is now 30 millimeter of mercury, it is decreased. Why it is going to be decreased? Because lungs are hyperventilating to compensate the metabolic acidosis. So to compensate the decrease of bicarbonate, lungs are also hyperventilating, and PCO2 is also being decreased. It is partially compensated, but still pH is 7.32. It is again abnormal. pH is abnormal still, but second entity is trying to be changed according to the variation of bicarbonate or carbonic acid. This is known as partially compensation. Same would be applied to metabolic alkalosis. If the case is of vomiting and bicarbonate ion is increased, acid should increase by hypoventilation. If acid is in the form of PCO2 is increased than normal, it is partially compensating, and pH is still abnormal. If it is normal, if acid amount is normal in the form of PCO2, it is uncompensated. If both things are normal, pH as well as acid, then it is fully compensated. Treatment of acidosis and alkalosis, we have done the oral administration of sodium bicarbonate and sodium lactate, sodium gluconate, and similarly treatment of alkalosis we have done by the ammonium chloride and lysine monohydrochloride. Now we are moving towards a very important topic, that is the clinical portion of this chapter, blood gas measurement, arterial blood gas measurement, that is also known as ABG. And which gases we measure in this lab test? These are carbon dioxide pressure and oxygen saturation, and they are investigated, they are monitored, they are evaluated to measure the acid-base disturbance and respiratory failure. And how the case will be treated: by the artificial ventilation, by the oxygen treatment, and how the sample will be taken. Arterial blood will be taken rather than venous blood, because arterial blood is oxygenated and we want to measure the level of oxygenation. Radial artery of forearm will be used, and femoral artery of foreleg will be used for the withdrawal of sample to investigate the arterial blood gases. Now we will focus at the normal ABG value so as to compare it with the abnormal one. Proton concentration normally will be 35 to 43 millimoles per liter. pH will be 7.35 to 7.45. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide will be 4.5 to 6 kilopascal. There are two units. Millimeter of mercury normally will be used, but the value can be given in kilopascal, so you should know the both values. Partial pressure of oxygen is 10.5 to 13.5 kilopascal. And the value of bicarbonate ion HCO3 1-, that is alkali reserve, is 22 to 30 millimoles per liter. And this value, this bicarbonate ion will be used to treat the pH variation and to treat the PCO2 changes. Now the same values in the millimeter of mercury units. The pH of newly born baby in first 4 days of life is usually abnormal, that is 7.27 to 7.47. This value is considered normal. From 5th day onward up to the adult age, the pH will be normalized to the 7.35 to 7.45. in first 4 days of life, because the lungs are not matured properly and buffering mechanisms are not matured properly, working properly. So that pH value is also considered as normal. Normal value of PCO2 is 35 to 45 millimeter of mercury. Normal value of partial pressure of oxygen PO2 is 80 to 100 millimeter of mercury. Normal value of bicarbonate ion is 22 to 30 millimoles per liter. Total carbon dioxide is 22 to 30 millimoles per liter. Base excess, this is another concept we will discuss in this lecture, at the end of this lecture. This base is actually bicarbonate ion, and the ratio is -2 to +2. Normal ratio is -2 to +2. If this base is in excess amount, we will call it as a base excess, and if it is decreased than normal value, it will be base deficit. Base excess is usually in alkalosis and base deficit is in metabolic acidosis. Oxygenated hemoglobin level, the hemoglobin that should be oxygenated, the percentage is normally 95 to 98%, and the oxygen concentration should be 18 to 21% by volume. These all are the normal parameters for the ABG report. In this case, you should focus mainly only on 3 parameters: pH, normal value is 7.35 to 7.45, PCO2 normally 35 to 45 millimeter of mercury, and bicarbonate is 22 to 30 millimoles per liter. If you know these 3 normal values, you can compare the clinical scenario data, and you can easily diagnose the acid-base disorder. Now we will also discuss 2 disorders: diabetic acidosis DKA and A9 gap. And before going to discuss these 2 diseases, we will go to the concept of A9 gap. What is the A9 gap? A9 gap is the difference of normal concentration of cations and the normal concentration of anions. And to maintain the electrical neutrality in blood or plasma, the concentration of cations should be equal to the concentration of anions. And the units are milliequivalent per liter, in which we measure the anion gap. Normally in the plasma electrolyte test, the common electrolytes, positive and negative ion, which we measure are sodium and potassium. These are the cations, and chloride and bicarbonate, these are the anions. The total percentage of cations should be 95%, while the percentage of anions should be 80%. The clinical use of anion gap. There are few clinical applications to measure the anion gap. To have a quality control of lab results of serum electrolyte test, like sodium, potassium, chloride and bicarbonate level, we can measure the report evaluation. We can have an idea of report validation by the normal value of anion gap. If anion gap is not normal, if it is increased or decreased, it may be an error in the report, or it may show towards the acidosis or alkalosis. So the cations which are measured are 95%, because the more concentration of sodium and potassium is there as compared to negative ions. But the measured anions are less as compared to cations. This is because there are few conditions in which we cannot measure the anions properly, like the production of proteins, like the urates, oxalates, sulfates, phosphates. These are the negative ions which are being produced as a result of metabolic acid production in the body, but they are not measured, because we only measure chloride and bicarbonate, not the proteins, not the oxalates, not phosphate, not sulfates. That's why it means, what is anion gap? Anion gap is the difference between the measured anions and cations, and these are the unmeasured anions in plasma, which are being produced in the body, but these are left unmeasured. That's why we call it as a anine gap. ये body में produce हो रहे हैं but measurement में नहीं आ रहे. That's why हम इसको anine gap बोलेंगे. Normally anine gap is ranging between 10 to 17. Normal range is 10 to 17 millimoles per liter. And if the value is greater than 17, it will be increased anion gap, and if it is less than 10, it will be decreased anion gap. Now we are going to discuss the conditions in which anion gap is increased. Uremia. Uremia is the retentions of fixed acid in which there is more uric acid production, and due to more uric acid production, more fixed acid will be produced, more urates will be produced in the blood, and that will be left as unmeasured anion because we don't measure uric acid in the lab investigation, so it will be associated with elevation of anion gap. Ketotic state, in which the diabetes mellitus, in uncontrolled diabetes, alcoholism, starvation, there will be lipolysis, there will be more ketone bodies production and more keto acids will be produced, beta hydroxybutyric acid, acetoacetic acid, and these ketone bodies are organic acid. They will lead to increased anion gap because these organic acids will produce negative ion in the blood or plasma, and that negative ion will be elevated in the plasma, and that will lead to increase the anion gap. Similarly, lactic acid. Lactic acidosis in the form of any hemorrhage, shock as a result of severe exercise and muscular contraction. This lactate is also an organic acid that will increase the anion gap. Toxin ingestion, methanol, salicylate, ethylene glycol, all these formulation will increase the acid production, and that acid will be dissociated into proton and negative ion, and that negative ion will lead to increased anion gap. In dehydration, when blood volume is low, when ECF volume is low, plasma protein content will be high. When there is more plasma proteins due to less blood volume and due to dehydration, these proteins will elevate in the plasma, and proteins will dissociate and produce negative charge. So elevation of negative charge will lead to increased anion gap. There are other conditions which are associated with increased anion gap, and the code you can recall it by a mnemonic, Dr. Maple. D for diabetes, R for renal failure or renal acidosis, M for methanol poisoning, A for alcoholic ketoacidosis, P for paracetamol intake, and it will increase some type of acid, L for lactic acidosis, and E for ethylene glycol. And in all these conditions, the loss of bicarbonate, because why loss of bicarbonate is there? Because these are all acids. Acid will cause more utilization of bicarbonate ion, and why anion gap is being increased? We will also discuss a normal anion gap. Normal anion gap will be there when the loss of bicarbonate is compensated by chloride. But over here, loss of bicarbonate is not compensated by chloride because mostly the acid production is organic acid. Normal anion gap when loss of bicarbonate is compensated by chloride, and these are the clinical conditions like diarrhea, pancreatitis, intestinal fistula, from which there is in all these conditions there is loss of bicarbonate, GI fluid loss in case of diarrhea, vomiting, cholera, dehydration. These are the 4 conditions when in which normal anion gap will be observed and loss of bicarbonate is compensated by chloride ion. Now decreased anion gap, we will move towards decreased anion gap, that in that condition the anion gap value will be less than millimoles per liter. What are the causes? Either increase in positive charge or decrease in negative charge. Decrease in unmeasured anions, increase in unmeasured cations, both these conditions will lead to decreased anion gap. Decreased anion gap means less negative charge, more positive charge. Both conditions may encounter over here. In case of high magnesium amount, in case of lithium intoxication, multiple myeloma, in which gamma globulins are increased in multiple myeloma, this is immune disorder in which gamma globulins will be increased, and those gamma globulins M type that will be showing, that will be dissociated into positive charge. At physiological pH, gamma globulins are positively charged. So in disease of multiple myeloma, more and more positive charge will be in blood or plasma due to elevation of gamma globulin. And the lithium intoxication, lithium is also a positively charged metal, magnesium positively charged metal. All these things will lead to more cation increase, and that will lead to decrease anion gap. Similarly, hypoalbuminemia, decrease in albumin content, decrease protein count, decrease negative charge. Hyponatremia, decrease in sodium. When sodium will be decreased, bicarbonate will also decrease. So bicarbonate is a negative ion that will lead to decrease amount of measured anions. So overall decrease in unmeasured anions will be observed, and there will be decrease in anion gap. Now we will discuss two conditions. DKA, that is uncontrolled diabetes, diabetic ketoacidosis. When diabetes is uncontrolled, it will lead to DKA. DKA is what? Diabetic ketoacidosis, in which ketone bodies will be elevated in the blood or plasma as a result of diabetes. So diabetes is a acute metabolic disorders in which hyperglycemia will be observed. Hyperglycemia means high blood sugar level. Hyperketonemia means more ketone body production, that will lead to metabolic acidosis, decrease in blood pH, and loss of bicarbonate ion, because more acid production will result in more utilization of bicarbonate ion. And this decay will be more prevalently observed in type 1 diabetes, in which diabetic ketoacidosis is more common. So bicarbonate ion will be decreased, and anion gap will be increased due to more acid production. And bicarbonate is present, alkali reserve is present in a limited and fixed amount. When acid production exceeds that limit, the body cannot produce more bicarbonate ion. So those acid that is not compensated, that is left over as such, that will be dissociated into proton and negative ion, and that proton will decrease the pH. That's why there will be diabetic ketoacidosis, and that negative ion of that acid will elevate in the blood or plasma, leading to increased anion gap. So the treatment is by the volume expansion, insulin therapy, and prevention of hypokalemia. Hypokalemia is decrease in potassium. Same is the case is with the lactic acidosis, in which there is more lactate production, more acid production in the blood or plasma, more lowering of pH, more acidosis. Again, the anion gap will be increased because lactate is an organic acid. Alkali reserve will compensate the acidosis, but up to a fixed limit. When the limit is beyond the amount of alkali reserve bicarbonate ion, the excess acid will elevate in the plasma, that will dissociate into proton, and negative ion will increase the anion gap. And same is the case with the aspirin, methanol. They will also result in acid production. Aspirin contains acetyl salicylic acid. So end result is the organic acid production will increase the anion gap, as the alkali reserve cannot compensate the whole acid. So this is end of this lecture. In next lecture, we will discuss about electrolytes, sodium, potassium, chloride, and magnesium, and their variation of plasma levels. Thank you very much.